Thank you, Pete. I want to thank everybody that came or made the trip to Pittsburgh. It was great to see the Hokie Nation turn out. It's always cool to watch our kids get to celebrate with our fans. I hope many of them will make the trip down to Duke this week for a really tough test that we've got in front of us. It's good to be back on a normal schedule after making it through the 2 Thursday games. I think our kids are anxious to be back kind of on a little bit normal routine. We have a tremendous challenge in front of us. Coach Cutcliffe has won everywhere he's been. I think the job that he's done at Duke is maybe underappreciated on a national level. I think he's one of the fine coaches in our sport. Always has his team ready to play. And there'll be a tremendous challenge for us in all 3 phases of the game. When you watch them play, they play with great effort. They are well coached in all 3 phases of the game. And will pose a really big challenge for us, our kids. I know we're looking forward to it. Obviously, we lost a close ball game at home against Duke last year. And I'm confident we'll have a good week of prep as we get ready for this one.
Questions?
Hey, Justin, how did Drod look yesterday in practice with the ankle?
Good.
Did he participate fully, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Duke has given up more plays of 30-plus yards than all but one Power 5 conference team. You guys have done a pretty good job getting 20-plus yard plays, a few 30-plus yard plays yourself, and you've got 4 receivers that average 15-plus yards per catch. Considering Duke's had trouble tackling also, this would seem like it'd be a game you could have pretty good yards after catch. Have you been pleased with the creativity the guys have had catching the ball and making yards after catch, or is that an area you'd like to improve in?
Well, I think each week is different in terms of how you try and throw the ball based on what you're getting. You know, last week it was a lot of tight coverage, so you know, there wasn't a lot of hooking it up in a zone, catching the ball and getting upfield. Just wasn't a part of it. And it was kind of the same 2 weeks ago against Miami. So I think our guys are conscious of trying to get north and south with the ball after they do catch it. You know, I don't know where we're at in terms of I have no clue where we're at in terms of yards after catch and all that sort of stuff, but I do like the way our kids have approached that part of it.
Coach, coming off of the Thursday game, were you guys able to give the kids an extra day off this week leading up to Duke, or did you add anything else into the practice plan with the 2 extra days?
Sure. We practiced a little bit longer yesterday than we usually do the day after a game. So it was much more game plan oriented. We did give the kids some time off. On Friday they brought them in and had meetings, and they got a good lift and a run in. Saturday they were off. And then we had a little bit longer practice yesterday to try and get, you know, that's supposed to be the reward of playing a Thursday game, is you've got to kind of compact all your preparation, but you should kind of get rewarded for it on the back end of it. And because of us playing 2 straight Thursday games, we had to wait till this week to get to do that. But yeah, you know, we gave them a little bit of time. Hopefully it'll be fresh and know what to do by Saturday.
I know the division title was probably something that you guys set as a goal before the season, and now it's kind of there a couple games away. I know you always try to go one game at a time. How do you guard against guys perhaps thinking ahead at all to something like that?
Well, I think we have a pretty good reference point for ourselves in the season. The last time everybody was patting us on the back, telling us how good a job we've been doing, we went up to Syracuse and got smacked around. So I think that's a pretty clear reference point for our guys in terms of the preparation and intensity with which we'll have to play. You know, the margin for error is very small. I still feel the same way that I felt before the season about our division, and that is there's not a big difference between anyone. I mean, I don't think we're done seeing interesting outcomes. You know, you watch the teams that are continuing to get better, you know, in Virginia and Georgia Tech, and certainly Duke has had their share of big games already this year. So I think, one, we've got a good reference point. Two, I don't think anybody's very far ahead of anybody else in this division.
You guys have been pretty good on kickoff and punt return coverage. Are there particular guys on those units that have really stood out to you as far as just tenacity and tackling ability and those kinds of things?
I think we've been good on kickoff, first of all, in terms of not taking for granted Joey's going to kick it out of the end zone. We had a tremendous challenge last week. Their scheme was different. To their credit, it was different and difficult. Their returner was very talented. Obviously, Divine made a big play and forcing the fumble. I've seen some of our younger guys, and Javon Quillen do a good job. Stephen Peoples is on that unit. And then there's some older guys mixed in there, too. Chuck Clark had a nice open field tackle last week. You know, Chuck's also on our punt team. Some of the product of better punt coverage has been better punts to cover, good hang time. You know, Mitch continues to get better, which is a good sign for us to help us get down there and cover those things.
Coach, kind of just along with special teams, I know we've asked you a lot about that number 25 and what that's meant to the program, but has it meant a little extra that it seems like every week that number 25 is making a big play, and what has that meant to you personally that that's happened every week, that guy has been the one to come up and make a play?
It's been really neat, you know, and the kids know it too, and, you know, to see Divine, I wasn't sure who caused the fumble last week, except for the fact that the smile on Divine's face as he came off the field literally just filled his helmet up. It was just pure joy. And, you know, part of it was because he made a play, but part of it was because he was wearing 25, and I think he was really proud of that. When we decided to do this, I felt like the fans and the people that love Virginia Tech would appreciate it, but I really, really wanted the kids to get excited about it and take great pride in it, and they certainly have. And the way that those guys have played wearing that jersey has just contributed to that, which has been a really neat thing.
Coach, you talk about how much you love playing at Lane Stadium, and obviously on the road, the support you guys have gotten on the road is just tremendous. Just talk a little bit more about that, and just the support that your team has gotten on the road.
Oh, it's been great. You know, for me, as obviously my first year, to see how well we travel, whether we're just getting off the bus or taking the field to start the game. And it was kind of odd. Last week, usually they're all kind of in one spot. Last week, they were kind of separated throughout the stadium. And I've said this before, but it's very nice to work at a place that really wants to support what your kids are doing on a weekly basis, whether they've got to drive a couple hours or not. Our kids certainly notice it. I know that.
Coach, obviously the guys struggled a little bit in the red zone against Pitt. What goes all into that? What were really the problems when you went back and watched the film, and how do you go about correcting that?
Well, I'd say that, you know, we didn't execute a couple things that we tried to do down there as well. I'd say part of it is they gave us a couple things. You know, coming off of a couple weeks off, they played a little bit different down there. The couple times we did try and take shots down there, we didn't complete them. We didn't make the plays. You know, Isaiah had one. The ball was a little far outside. You know, and then, you know, talking to the staff in retrospect, we probably should have, knowing what we know now, taken a couple more shots down there. So I think it was a little bit of everything in terms of our execution, in terms of them doing a good job, in terms of us, the couple times we did take shots down there, not completing them, and then, I wish in retrospect, I wish we'd taken a couple more and given our guys a chance down there a couple more times.
I know when you got here, receiver depth was something that you were concerned about right away. What was your initial impression of having 3 receivers like Isaiah, Cam, and Bucky to work with right away?
Well, I was obviously excited about those guys. I think as excited I was about their talent level, I was maybe more pleased with their work ethic, their unselfishness, their team-oriented mentality. As much as I was excited about the fact they can run and catch, and they're smart football players. I felt like as we were going along, our job was to push those guys to continue to help those guys get better, but also that we were going to need other guys to come forward, and obviously we're still working on that. But those 3 guys give you a lot to be excited about.
Nigel Williams has been out the last couple weeks. Any update on status? Do you think he'll play this week, or is it just a week-by-week thing?
Yeah, we'll see. No real updates, but
I know Pitt was basically daring you to throw with man coverage, but when you look at and you were obviously able to loosen up the running game a little bit with some sweeps and things like that. But when you look at Trayvon and Marshawn, they had 14 carries for 26 yards. Was that? I mean, I know you're disappointed by that, or is that more of a product of them sort of jamming up the middle and making it difficult for them to run between tackles and things like that?
well, I'll go back to what I've said since I've been here. I don't really care who gets the yards. We had over 100 yards rushing, which is not a monster day by any standpoint. Don't get me wrong. But they were giving up less than 100 yards rushing, and there's a reason for that. So if it means we have to run a reverse to run the ball, or we have to get the ball to the perimeter to find a way to eke out some form of running game, then I'm okay with that. I don't think it's indicative of Trayvon or Marshawn's performance. I don't think it's indicative of any one person, other than we've got to find a way to get it done. Obviously, the way they play makes it hard on everybody to run the football, and that's certainly true. That's undeniable. But the fact that we found a way to have whatever the numbers were running the football, and when we had the ball with whatever it was, 2 minutes to go, we got 10 yards. However we got it, whether it was Cam Phillips on a 1-yard run around the edge or Brendan pouring it up in there, we got 10 yards.
Coach, I know the defense that you guys go against dictates a lot of it too, but I know it's been frustrating for a lot of Hokies fans, anybody else, that just the way that Bucky's been used the last couple of years, and he's gotten a lot more use the last few weeks. What are you seeing from him that's maybe different, and what's, even as play callers, what, are you seeing anything different that's allowing you guys to get him the ball more and for him to make some big plays?
No. I didn't know everybody was frustrated that Bucky didn't get the ball enough, but I have nothing in particular. Each week teams choose to try and play their strengths against our strengths, and we do our best to match those things up. We'll have a different challenge this week, and Bucky may or may not get balls his way, but the thing I know about Bucky is he's going to try hard and going to try and do the other things if he doesn't have the ball to help us win the game.
This past week, you saw on the other sideline we had Pat Narduzzi, who was kind of crazy. As a coach, does that get at all frustrating to see another coach on the sideline just kind of having a lot of antics, or do you just kind of ignore the other coach?
Yeah, I'm pretty good at ignoring. Listen, my boss and I have a clear definition of what we think the Virginia Tech head coach should be like. If other people have different definitions at different places, that's totally up to them. It's none of my business. So I have no issue with any of that until, we discredit the effort that our kids put in. And then, there's some issue to be had with that. But in terms of other coaches' behavior on the sidelines, that's their business.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Isaiah, what does that comment mean to you? Career leader in touchdowns at Virginia Tech. Is that something special? I mean, considering the storied history here at Virginia Tech?
Absolutely. You know, it's something that I don't take for granted, and there's a lot of special people on that list below me now, and Antonio Freeman being one of them. And he reached out to me, and it was amazing just to talk to him, and I was humbled by it to even be in the same or be mentioned in the same situation or the same category as him is special.
Raise your hand and get your microphone on.
Yeah, is there some key to yards after catch? I mean, is it something you get better at as you get older and sort of know how to avoid people and avoid tackles? The only reason I ask is this is a defense that gives up a lot of big plays and has this season seems to have had some trouble tackling at times too. Possibly a game where you could have some yards after catch.
I think that is a thing that comes with maturity. You know, as you're younger, you're more focused about just catching the ball, and as you start to get older, you're okay. Like where did I leave the defender, and how much space did I have between us when I caught the ball, and things like that, and just knowing where you left them, and knowing where the rest of the defense is. So yeah, I think it is something that comes with age.
I know defenses can't really double team all of your receivers, but are you almost surprised right now when you get one-on-one coverage, and how much your eyes kind of get open when you get that sort of one-on-one deal?
Not at all, because in past games that I have been bracketed a little bit of things that Bucky and Cam has been stepping up and playing well, so teams are starting to figure it out. Well, if they're going to try to take that away, then those two are going to shine. And they're going to shine brightly as well. So it's really kind of a pick your poison type of thing.
Isaiah, you already have one record. You're 8 catches away from another record after having 10 this past week. Does that come into your thinking at all during a game about how you're getting close to this record? I know you mentioned after Pitt that you wanted to kind of just get it over with and get that touchdown. Are you starting to think all about that career reception record?
Not at all. I actually didn't know I was that close until you just said something. But during the game, it's nothing like that. Well, I need one more catch, coach. Let me get one more catch so I can get the record. Yeah, I don't ever think like that. I'm just trying to do whatever it takes to win the game.
Isaiah, I know you guys love playing at Lane Stadium, a special place to play, but on the road, you guys have gotten tremendous fan support on the road. Just talk about the fan support away from Lane Stadium.
Well, I think I've said it before. Every game is a home game when you play for Virginia Tech. You know, our fans travel, and they travel well, and they travel in packs, and it's amazing, and it's a privilege. And you know, when our fans are cheering louder than theirs, it speaks volumes on our fan base.
I know physically this offseason you tried to add a bunch of weight. How much has that helped in sort of these one-on-one deals, back, shoulders? I mean, are you more well-equipped to go up and make that kind of play this year compared to last year?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And that's been a thing that I've tried to gradually work on since my freshman year here. And I think there's been a huge improvement. And the biggest thing that we've been trying to work on this year is maintaining that weight. And Coach Hilgard and the rest of the strength and conditioning staff has done a wonderful job with helping me stay around the 190 area. So I think that's a great part of why I'm being able to make some of those catches and things like that.
Coach mentioned that the last time you guys were having a bunch of praise heaped upon you was right before the Syracuse game, and he said that you guys are using that as a reference point. How much are you guys talking about that in the locker room?
That's any time that things come about or that we're talking about the game this week. That's the first thing that comes out is that, hey, you know what, we had this happen to us before, and let's learn from it, you know. And Coach, he referenced us like the little kid touching the stove, and is he going to go back and touch it again, or is he going to learn his lesson the first time? And we want to be the ones that learned our lesson the first time. So.
Any other questions for Isaiah? Okay, Tracy, appreciate you coming in.
Chuck, I know that I guess it's been 3 games in a row now. You guys have given up some big plays. When you've gone back and looked at it, have you noticed anything that's causing breakdowns or anything that's maybe causing you guys to do that?
When we went back and looked at them, it was just, it all came down to technique and fundamentals, basic day one things. So that's all it came down to.
Chuck, what do you guys have to do as seniors to sort of avoid any kind of trap like what was at Syracuse a couple weeks ago?
We got to get the team up, Everybody on the team, we have to find a way to go on the road and get a win, We have to find a way to pump ourselves up,
More questions for Chuck? We'll go back over to Jason.
Chuck, what have you thought of Mook? And we've talked about him. He's kind of gone back and forth. But how do you feel like he's kind of developed as the season has gone on, going back and forth between nickel and whip?
As the season's gone on, he's made a lot of improvements and strides, And that's how it should be for any player, As the year goes on, you gain experience and you see different things and things come back that you see again. So he's gained a lot of experience and he's becoming a more complete player.
Chuck, I know you see these receivers, Bucky, Isaiah, Cam on a daily basis. What do you see every day from those kind of guys? Seems like they're special players.
They come in and work hard in practice, and that's where it carries over. When you work hard in practice, it carries over to the game field. We give them a good look, they give us a good look.
Chuck, how much does that game last year against these guys really stick with you? The 4 overtime game here and lose 45-43, and it was, obviously a pivotal point in your season, and to lose that way, how much does that kind of stick with you?
At the end of the day, we're just worried about this week, but it's in the back of your mind, but we're just trying to worry about this week and this year's game against them. You can't think about that.
Chuck, as one of the leaders, one of the senior veterans on the team, how much do you talk to the younger guys during the course of the game as far as where they need to be and coverages and things of that nature?
The guys that are like the safeties in the corners, I always talk to them all the time. If I didn't, we would have a lot of confusion out there. So you got to talk to the guys.
Chuck, is there much talk in the locker room about the Coastal race and how Virginia Tech is in control of their own destiny, and if they win, and if the Hokies win out, they'll be in the ACC championship, or does that not come up much?
Not really. A lot of us, we just like I said earlier, I told them we're trying to focus on this week's game. So, at the end, it'll all play itself out, and we'll see where we're at. But we're just trying to focus on this week.
Anything else for Chuck? Okay, thank you very much for coming in.
Cam, you led the team in rushing last week. You had a few carries. Is there sort of a comfort you're starting to gain in running the football more, not just being out wide, but also getting the ball out of the backfield and off jet sweeps?
Yeah, I would say that there is increasing comfort. It's always good when you're able to touch the ball in more ways than one. And, the coaches are just doing a great job and calling the right plays into the right looks. And, our guys are doing a great job blocking them.
You guys have been you're still on punt, right? Punt coverage team, is that right? Or
Punt return.
okay, punt return, right. You guys have been okay, I'll go ahead and ask you about last season's game against Duke. You lost by 2 points, 4 overtime game here, obviously, and since then it's kind of a turning point, it looks like, as you've won 10 of 13 games since then. You won 4 of your last 5 last year after that loss. Was that a turning point in a strange way? Was there some kind of discussion about how you guys needed to be able to finish games better or anything like that after that game, do you recall?
I would say so. Whenever you lose a tough, hard-fought game like that, it's always tough and it hurts, especially last year, the situation we were in with Coach Beamer, those being his last games. We really wanted to win those for him. And this year, I just say the way that we're finishing games would be credited to the coaches, the mindset that they sort of instilled in us and, how important the preparation is. And I think that probably is the, biggest factor in how we're playing so far.
At this point in the season, how comfortable are you guys with Coach Fuente's offense? And is there any point during the week when they're installing different plays and schemes and concepts that you guys kind of look at each other and go, wow, we didn't expect that?
I would say with us being 8 weeks into the season, we can expect that they're going to change some things around. But the good thing for us, I'm talking about receivers in general, is that we're smart. So I think the coaches are comfortable with switching up, some nuances of plays because, it won't take us long to, pick up the concepts and, it'll still make the week of practice go smooth and ultimately the game.
Cam, I know every week we kind of say, you, Isaiah, or Bucky could beat a team receiving if they pay too much attention to somebody else. How cool was it that all 3 of you went over the 100-yard mark in the same game last week?
I couldn't believe it that it took us this long to do that. We all expect each other to make those plays, and it's just great that not only we were able to do that, but how instrumental it was in helping the team win. The team needed us to do that, and we did. Down the line, making some plays there, and we pulled out the win. So I think that's what is most important.
We saw last week versus Pitt that really the offense predicated on you, Isaiah, and Bucky being able to get separation on your own in one-on-one situations. How much of the offense this year is predicated on you guys being able to get separation, and how much is it predicated on scheme?
I think the coaches have, certain plays each week that they want to get the ball to me, Isaiah, or Bucky. And, when they came up and played press coverage pretty much the whole game, it's just like, okay, we're just going to take our one-on-one chance. And, the coaches were pretty confident in the matchups that they gave us. And, when it's like that, it's just, it's easy. So why not just take the easiest way? And, we take our guys over yours.
Anything else for Cam? We'll go back over to Jason.
Cam, again, I know it's one of those that, based on what the defense gives you guys, but back shoulder throw, is that something, that as a receiver, how much do you look forward to that kind of game where you know what's coming and they still can't stop you?
I think that's really, really fun, when you can just, trust your skills and know that the quarterback is going to give you a chance. And, he did that, and myself, Isaiah, and Bucky had, big games. And like I said, just the most important thing is that the team won. And, it was a lot of fun doing that, and, hopefully we can do that again soon.
Thank you, Cam. Appreciate it.
Thank you.